Hi, this is Al from SAS. His software is amazing if you're doing RA or OA, and I just want to introduce him and talk a little bit about his software. Hi, Al.
Yeah, hi, thanks, Emily. Yeah, so I'm Al Carlson, founder and main developer on SellerAmp SAS. I've been an Amazon seller for like 5 years or so, then really been concentrated on software for the last year. So this is like software I've developed to help my business, which I'm now concentrated more on developing the software rather than selling on Amazon. So in this video, I was really just introducing myself. I'm going to do a little chat about VAT and why it's actually good. So we'll let Norm introduce himself, then we'll go from there.
Hi, hi Norm. Norm is the owner and developer for SellerToolKit, where you'll get all your profit and loss replenishables and your reconciliation and maybe a repricer.
Hi, hi, I'm Norm Rogers. I developed STK or SellerToolKit simply because I could not understand what we were making in our business, and I hated the reprices that were around. We've been selling for 4 years. Sarah, my wife, mainly deals with that side of it, selling and sourcing. And I picked up and thought, right, I can knock out some software in 3 to 6 months, and it actually took nearly 3 years, and we're still working on it and still moving forward with it and still adding stuff. And yes, just released a nice piece today, which was for customer order invoices that everyone's been banging on about that they need, and the auto repricer hopefully coming soon. Have a manual reprice as well as replenish. But yeah, I've been building software for years. I'm a professional contract IT developer, and I just thought this would be an easy gig to build something for myself, but it took forever. It's always going to grow. It's going to continue to grow, and I'll be adding stuff to it all the time. I've got pages and pages of upgrades to make to it, and all part of the basic subscription. So, you know, wait and see. Cool. So what I wanted to talk today was basically about the auto repricing, and what I've learned by messing around with, because I've got the code there, I can try all sorts of different angles and whatever. And what I've learned is that there is none, but we'll go on to that later.
Awesome. So Al, you said that VAT isn't a bad thing. I completely agree with you. Since I've been VAT registered, my cash flow is a bit better. And I found that there are certain categories which actually I'm more competitive with. So I'd love to find out why you agree that VAT is not a bad thing.
Well, I wouldn't say it's always not a bad thing, but I will stress now, I'm not a qualified accountant. This is like from experience and from like reading HMRC and talking to qualified accountants. But yeah, because with VAT, it's another tax, well, value added tax. I'm really not sure what the value is, but it's a bit of a nightmare. You get to the threshold, you've got to register, and you're paying 20% of VAT, and it's not 20% of your sale price. It's added to your price to take it up to your sale price. So it's 1/6 of your sale price effectively that you're paying out in VAT, but you can claim that back on your cost. The reason I'm saying it's not a bad thing always, like I hate VAT, I think most people that are VAT registered do, but you can use it to your advantage, where like with certain products are 0 rated. So basically that means you don't have to pay VAT on when you're selling the product, and you also can't claim VAT back when you're buying the product. So, but if you're VAT registered, you're also not paying VAT. Oh. You've got your advantage. If you're VAT registered selling non-VAT liable products, okay, I'm going to be a bit mumbly jumbly here. So obviously I've not completely planned this. That's so your two nightmares with VAT is you've got to pay out tax, you've got to pay out more money. Yep. And then it's also the admin side of getting your VAT receipts to be able to claim the VAT back. those are like two primary things I see of being a bit of a nightmare with VAT. Like if you're doing RA, going to Asda, Tesco, whatever, getting your VAT receipts can be painful. And like, even if you're buying from Boots, doing RA again, getting a VAT receipt can be painful. All right. There's a one sentence ask with your accountant when you need a VAT receipt and when you don't. But if you are not claiming VAT back, a VAT receipt doesn't exist. So if you're selling like non-VATable products, you haven't got the extra sort of admin overhead of trying to get the VAT receipt. And you're not paying the VAT on the sale. So it's what I always advise when people aren't VAT registered, be very careful about selling VATable products.
Yep.
Because you're competing against people that have an advantage over you.
Yep.
If you're not VAT registered, and somebody is VAT registered, you're paying VAT on your fees, the VAT registered person isn't paying VAT on the fees. And if there's no VAT on the sale price or the cost price, the VAT registered sort of has a much bigger margin to play with.
Yeah, it's the only time VAT registered actually pays off when you're competing against people who aren't VAT registered. If I can bust a bit of a myth here, a lot of people start saying that you need to turn over 150,000 to make being VAT registered viable. So that position between 85k and 150k is the kind of no man's land where you're just earning money for the VAT man. But it's not actually as scary as it should be. So as it sounds, so 85k is something like £7,080 every 12 months in turnover, and 150k is actually only 12,500. So you only have to turn over an extra £1,000 a week for that to be a non-existent problem. So a lot of people are very worried about registering and then losing all their money to the VAT man. If you can just squeak it £1,000 a week in your revenue, you'll smash through it, and you won't feel it, and it won't hurt you at all. It's not quite as scary as everybody sort of makes out, I don't think. Have you got anything to add with the VAT, Norm? Because you're VAT registered too within your business.
Yeah. Well, we had to go VAT registered like within the first 6 months. But it was scary because we thought, well, our profits looked like they were really going down, apart from the zero and stuff, as Al said. But once you do it, and then you get used to the fact that you make it a little bit less on the 20%. And as Al said, you're not paying VAT on your fees anymore, and everyone forgets about the VAT on the fees who are not VAT registered. Everyone sees the fees on Amazon and some of the other softwares as well that come up, and they don't actually include the fee. And I had somebody just messaging me the other day, and I get this a lot, where they're comparing one piece of software with SDK. Says, why is SDK showing I'm not making profit, whereas this other software is showing that it does? And it's well, you know. Especially the Amazon app, it doesn't include the VAT. Yeah. So there's things like that. So I think one thing you've got to remember is that VAT as a business, when you're registered, you're actually just a tax collector. You're a tax collector, so you don't turn around and say, well, I'm selling something for £20, but I'm only getting £16.33 really, because the rest of it is VAT. You're selling for £16.33 and adding the VAT on top for HMRC and then taking your piece off. You don't pay VAT as a VAT registered person, company, and you're collecting VAT off of the punters, and then you're just passing the difference back to HMRC. So you just got to see it as that you as a business, you don't pay VAT, but you're collecting it on behalf of HMRC. That's what I see. You just become a VAT collector, a tax collector.
So coming back to Al with SAS, whether you're VAT registered or not, is there a way that you can, when you scan something, either on the Chrome extension or on the phone, Android and iPhone, is there a way that SAS will tell you if you're, can you put the VAT in somehow, or does it calculate it for you?
Yeah, the way you can do it, like if you're not VAT registered, in your profile, we set up what VAT scheme you're on, whether you're VAT registered, not registered, or all these sort of flat scheme registered. Then in all the calculations, it will include the VAT for you, how it should. So if you're not registered, it will add it as VAT due on, it will add it onto the fees. Well, it'll show it separately what the VAT is on the fees if you're not registered.
So you're not going to get a shock. You're not going to scan something, think it's okay, but actually it's different. What you see on your phone or your Chrome extension is a real working set of numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Whilst if you are VAT registered, then by default, it will show you the VAT you could be paying on the sale price and what you sort of claim back from the sort of cost price, and then it takes that into account on the profits. But you can then also override that by for 0 rated items or 5% items, where you've got like toggles where you can say there's no VAT on this sale price, or there's no VAT on the buy price. So that way you could use SAS where you could be entering the cost price before VAT if you're getting it from a wholesaler, where they give you a list of like before VAT, or if it's a 0 rated item, then yeah, you can just 10 VAT off the sale price and the buy price, and then it will show you what the actual profit would be.
Perfect. Awesome.
Like what we don't do, we don't default an item saying like, oh, this is a grocery item, there's no VAT on it, because like that isn't the case a lot of the time. Because I think VAT rules are relatively simple, but there's a lot of sort of quirks. Like if you look on check with the HMRC, check with your accountant, like a lot of grocery items, there's no VAT on it. But if it's a luxury grocery item, there is. And even with books, there's no VAT on books, apart from some books that are, if they've got supplements in from the CD and things like that. So what I don't want to do is, like, it's very dangerous to say like, yeah, there's no VAT on books, because there is at times.
Okay. So it's a matter of just kind of learning. So for example, when I first went VAT registered, I learned that like tea and coffee has 0 rated VAT and sanitary products are 5%. So it's just, I suppose, the case of like working out category by category, maybe?
Well, it's not just categories, because if it was just category, it'd be pretty easy.
Okay.
But there's like categories within categories as such.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So I think I'm going to pause that, because I'm getting into depths where I need accounting advice, and I'm not really like hugely up to date with everything. I have put a post in the group for anyone who's interested. It's scrolled down quite far. I found a wholesaler where you don't need, just a general one, you don't need to open an account. You can search for any grocery item, and it comes up and it will tell you if the VAT is 0, 5 or 20. So it's not a perfect guide, but it's a rough guide, and you can literally look up a product that you may or may not be considering to sell. So I'll put a post and link that in there. So Norm, so you're kind of working with algorithms, and you do a lot of work with the BuyBox, and you've got some kind of common myths that you want to dispel.
Well, I want to open up for a conversation as well, because there's plenty of people that have been telling us on YouTube and Facebook and whatever that they know how the algorithms work within Amazon. And if you go to the Amazon site, there's nothing on there that tells you anything about the BuyBox. So how would anybody know? It's all passed on. It's Chinese whispers. Everyone's going on about, well, you've got to have a good rating to get the BuyBox. You've got to have, good performance. You've got to have the right price. You've got to have the right number of stars.
Well, I thought it had something to do with being local. I thought if you were local to where the seller's buying it, then you get the BuyBox.
Yeah, but the local thing is what you mentioned last week. I've never heard anybody say that before, but that's total BS.
Okay.
Because if that were the case, the API into Amazon, when I'm asking who's got the BuyBox, I'd have to say who's got the BuyBox in Leeds, who's got the BuyBox in London. Yeah, it just tells you who's got the BuyBox. Whoever's got that BuyBox has got it all over the UK. It really is as simple as that.
Okay.
But more so is if it were true that all these things, you needed to have all these things to get the BuyBox, then a new seller wouldn't stand a chance of selling anything, because they come on with no stars, they come on with no performance. Whereas it's somebody else who's been doing it for 10 years and has got 10,000 stars and he's 5-star, he has to give up the BuyBox to somebody else who's at the same price, who's been doing it for a month or a week. So it just doesn't work. And the way I look at it, and I've worked for big institutions. I've been in rooms being a solution architect as well as a technical architect, and we have to whiteboard things. And there's products, although it was money products, not cornflakes. It's the same thing. Is that you have to work out how are people going to buy this money or whatever. So with Amazon, if you imagine the people that are putting these albums together, they don't want to have a complicated algorithm that's going to go tits up all the time. I know they have had a few problems. Well, people were saying they had problems. They never ever came out with their saying they had problems a few months ago. You know, merchant fulfills getting the buy box instead of Prime and all that. I don't know if you remember that.
Big thing a little while ago. I don't know if yeah, there was a rumor that Amazon were trying to direct people to MF and then Seller Fulfill Prime, and the buy box wasn't being shared equally.
Drive me mad because nothing's actually happening, nothing's actually different. It's just houses shit for the day. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I think people are looking for a justification.
They want an excuse. They want to find a reason why. And it's the buy box is all about fair price. And Amazon know what the fair price is going to be. That's why there will be no buy box if you go above what they believe a fair price. They'll let you go down. They'll let you go down, but people are going to be rotating around that buy box based on an algorithm that will be just based on a percentage difference, maybe based on the product. Don't know. We'll never know that bit, but it's certainly not based on how great a seller you are. It's just how great you are at pricing your item to be sold. It's the same as all markets, all supply and demand markets work at fair value. It's fair value at the time. Amazon have got restrictions on that fair value, whereas there's no restriction on fair value in the stock market, but they've got restrictions. So you've got to get into that sweet spot, as I call it. And if you're in that sweet spot, you're going to rotate. And again, the rotating is some other things I've been hearing is like, oh, they're hogging the buy box, they're not giving it up, that kind of thing. Well, for 4 years, we've never noticed that.
Okay.
We've never noticed hogging of the buy box. So whether that's just we've been lucky for 4 years, yeah, or whether that's a myth.
So Al, you come from a very, I mean, I'm not techie at all. I'm just putting two brilliant like software brains together here. I've got no knowledge in that area. Do you concur and agree that it's almost impossible for an algorithm to be based on location or merchant fulfilled? Do you agree that from like a techie perspective, it makes sense that it's based on price?
I think it's based on price most.
Okay.
But I don't think it's exclusively based on price.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what else do you think might be anything particular or different stuff or?
You've got to be eligible for the buy box to start with, which new sellers aren't necessarily. They've got to have some history to be eligible.
Hang on a sec. So on that basis, Norm said, how would a seller make their first sale? So how would a seller make their first sale if they were brand new?
Well, you can make a sale without being on the buy box.
Oh, very good. That's true. That's true. I'd not thought about that.
If you're the only seller, but I'm trying to think. I remember it's a long time ago since I looked at this, and Norm's going to be much more up to date than I am with it. But I'm sure I read in a document, some Amazon documentation somewhere, that you do need to build up to be eligible, and this might only be selling for a month or so before this happens.
Well, yeah, I've never read that anywhere, and from what I understand as well, to be eligible for buy box seems to be only a US market. Yeah, from the documentation, and the eligible flag is only ever set for the US market, not the EU markets.
Right. Okay.
But eligible, from what I understand, it's not based on being new or having history. It's because you are a poor seller.
Okay.
So if you're a poor seller, then you become ineligible for a buy box. So I don't know how you get out of that situation. I don't know whether you have to be lucky and you get like somebody goes down the offer listings instead of buying from the buy box and then builds up that way. But to me, that would take forever because I'd go out on a limb and say that 99% of sales are done through the buy box. They're not done through the listings. People just
Well,
look.
I'm one of those people that goes on Amazon. I'm like, press the Prime buttons. I know that I can get merchant fulfilled much cheaper, and I know it's just as quick. But I'm still, as a consumer, I still go straight on, hit that Prime button, and just take the first one in the buy box and don't compare. If I'm like that and I'm a seller, most of the market must be like that.
I believe they are. I would even believe that most people don't actually realise that it says there are 17 other sellers starting out. You know what I mean? You're going to be blind, especially if you like seeing something that, I really need to get that right. Click, 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 bang, gone. I'll have it tomorrow. So I think there may be sophisticated buyers. There may be people like yourself and like me that you just want it, you just click on it, and you can't be faffed going down the list, because you're looking at a list and you've got one at 22.98 and one at 23, and you think, well, there's 2p difference, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you're not going to, why are you going to be messing around and wasting a bit of time on your life for 2p? You're just not going to do that. And you're not going to, the buy box isn't going to be held by somebody at 30 quid and you go on the listing and there's somebody at 20 quid. That's just not going to happen.
Oh, okay. So I just wondered if either of you two wanted to take this opportunity just to say something about your software, what it does briefly. I will be working with both of you to release some how-to videos. So if anyone wants to comment below and say what they'd like a little bit of help to learn about, or help to use, because some of the features people are struggling to use them. Some of the features people don't quite know how to use them and what they do. So I'll just pass it over to both of you, and let me know if you want any of the help. The how-to videos, we'll be putting some together. I don't mind.
SellerToolKit, if you've never seen it, you just need to get on it. You need to get 14 days, yeah, and you will fall in love with it. You won't want to leave. It's very rare that people cancel. What I find what it does, it gives you a clear picture on the dashboard of exactly what your business is up to. On a daily basis, on a 7-day basis, monthly basis, annual basis, lifetime. You can see exactly where your profits are on your sales, your profits are overall. And a lot of new users, and again, I get these messages, I think it was today or yesterday, where again, they're saying, I don't understand why I'm losing this money. It just shows I'm making a 1p loss when I should be making a £2 profit. And a lot of sellers don't understand EFN.
Okay.
The EFN fees. So if they're selling something to Europe, they say, well, no, if I go on Amazon DE, it says on the inventory, it says the fee is £7. Why is it £14 on STK? You know, I say, well, that's the EFN fee, and then you have to teach them that. And then and to be fair, that's exactly what we did. As soon as I opened up the software on our business 3 years ago, one of the things that we noticed was how much money we weren't making on the EU sales, and that we were able to put right. So SDK manages, you can manage your business with every part of SDK. It will manage your inventory, or tell you exactly where all your inventory is for reconciliation. It will tell you exactly when items have gone missing. You don't need to do anything about it yet, and then it will tell you exactly when you'll have an overdue reimbursement that needs to be claimed for. And then you can go into the SDK, click a few buttons, it puts a template together, it has all the transactions, everything there that Seller Central needs, so they can't come back and say, don't know what you're talking about, nothing.
Oh, I'm going to chip in and just say that I make in reconciliation returns, I make enough money to cover the cost of STK and SAS. I make enough money and getting my money back from Amazon to cover both softwares. So yeah, it's awesome. And I noticed today you released something really cool today where there's an invoice feature. So with that horrible need to give a business customer an invoice within 24 hours, there's a little tiny square button which you can press and up it pops. And you can just copy, paste, and plonk that into Amazon. It does it all for you. Awesome. So Al, come and tell us why you should never, ever do RA without SAS. Why, like, it needs to be your best friend for RA.
Okay. STK is great. Like, STK is you sort of, when you've got your stock, when you've sold your stock, it's your sort of your present and after party analysis tool, effectively. With SAS, That's before well, say before the party. That's like your pre-analysis tool. So you use SAS to analyze before you buy the product. Then you use the STK to analyze after you've bought the product.
And the two work beautifully together. You can't really run a business with one without the other. You can, but really and truly, that the partnership between SAS and STK, SellerToolKit, is perfect. So what does SAS protect me from if I'm going out to scan something in Tesco's? What does it do to look after me and make sure I buy the right stuff?
Right. So with SAS, you use it for OA, RA, or wholesale. So you've got your mobile app, the Chrome extension, and a web app. So you're asking about RA, you'll be using the mobile app. Mm-hmm. So like you say, scan your barcode, it'll do the Amazon lookup, it will show you the current prices and the current rank. It also shows you the sort of average prices and ranks. And so, because like just basing something on the current price and rank is really dangerous, with least change. So by looking at like 30-day average, 90-day average, or your all-time average, it makes it gives you a better sort of numbers to sort of make your decision on. So rather than just making a snapshot decision, you're looking at your history over the last, say, up to 90 days or all the time.
And where do you get that from? Is that from Keeper? Because I know Keeper.
Yeah, we get that from Keeper.
Okay, so if I've got SAS on the Chrome extension, do I need to buy Keeper as well, or do I need to pay for the Keeper, or does it come as part of the SAS subscription?
With SAS, we've got like a developer subscription to Keeper, so we can get the graphs, we can get all the information from Keeper like you'd use.
Oh, brilliant!
I'd never recommend not having a Keeper subscription, because I think Keeper's great. There's a lot of other ways you can use Keeper to do the analysis.
Yep.
But for getting the basic graph, getting the data that we use, like average prices, average sale prices, you don't need to keep subscription from that because SAS does it. Yeah. Like we are adding some other graphs and things to SAS, which will. Oh, I had a balloon here earlier, which you constantly. SAS is one of your birthday. I've got me a balloon. So I had a helium balloon, but it was in the background, so I moved it. But we've also got a fan up there, which now has a balloon wrapped around it somewhere.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I'm just going to turn that fan off.
Yeah, I will. Otherwise, I can have a.
Okay.
I can't feel it.
Is this a good point to say that Norm and I are freezing in October in like southeast England and ours in Texas boiling hot and with a cool fan?
It's in the 30s outside at the moment. It's really pleasant.
My heating's on 30. That's just not fair. So can SAS protect me from buying stuff where it's hazmat or
in the Chrome extension? Yes, it can. It will give you the warning of hazmat, whether you're restricted. It's not in the mobile app as yet, but it's being worked on. Okay. So it will be in the mobile app as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to put a link down. Our Norm kindly given us a link to a free trial. So I think SAS or SAS comes with a 42 scan free trial. So you get to scan or run 42 ASINs or barcodes. Is that right?
Yeah, you can do like 42 scans, whether it's on the extension, on the mobile app, or the sort of web app.
I challenge anyone not to love it after 4.2, let alone 42. I think that's very generous of you. I think people.
There's a reason why it's 42, and that's probably my nerdy past.
Ah, okay. And Norm, you've got a 14-day free trial to STK where you can find out all about your ROI and see what your business is doing, because a lot of people think their business is doing really well, and actually it's doing significantly better or worse than you think, because you don't actually know.
I've had both surprises on both sides, probably 50-50 on both sides, where people have like been very disappointed and people that have been elated about how much they're making, and like they're jumping up and down. But you cannot tell how much you're making without a piece of software, and it's real time, and it updates every 30 seconds. You know, so you can see exactly what you sold. And sometimes I've been told that it shows the information before even the Amazon app does. So.
Well, I don't use the Amazon app at all for sourcing or for after sales. I literally focus on SAS and STK, and that's pretty much all I need. So I don't run any other software.
But there's a lot of people that haven't realised that STK is a web app, and it's available on any browser on any device. So if you've got your phone, you can set it up and just have a bookmark on your
pressing
home,
refresh, watching my
home screen. So you don't have to refresh; it just refreshes itself every 30 seconds anyway. So you don't have to do that. So the thing is that you know, people have been. There was one guy who was using the Amazon app during the day because he didn't realise it was an app. That it's a browser app. So there's no reason for it to be a phone app because that's more development. There's more to look after. You'd have an iPhone one. You'd have to have an Android one, plus then the online one. It's pointless. It works on all devices.
Perfect. Awesome. So as I said before, please feel free to pop any questions underneath. Our Norm, if you may or may be able to try and get round to them, depending how many they are. Otherwise, I'm sure someone in the group will be able to help out and answer. I mean, almost a lot of us are users. I've used both pieces of software since pretty much the beginning, I think, with both of you. I've watched all the...
You were one of the very first on STK, Emily.
Yeah, I don't think I was far behind with...
You kept bugging me, asking when's it going to be ready.
I know. Inside information. No, brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. As I said, I will be doing lots of short videos working with Alison, our wife, and working with Norm over the shoulder, where you can see the cogs and the scanning, and we'll scan items and actually kind of go through all the features of both pieces of software. But your Amazon business will thank you if you get both of these pieces of software. And as I said, our Norm are constantly upgrading and developing and adding things. So I shall leave it there for now, but say thank you very much, and I'll speak to you both soon. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.